8th of Marquette, 233, second era of the Age of Songs. If you would believe it, it is spring once again. This means one thing for me and those who work in my field. The animals are waking. They are giving birth to their young. They are easier to find and therefore easier to study. I've spent the last 3 years preparing for the opportunity to study the beasts of our lands. Hours in libraries learning of monsters, animals, habitation. Today I finally get to begin my own research. Proctor Matthias and Scribe Milo gave me this notebook, and a compass, a bag, a tent, a bed, a walking stick, and a large orange hat, as is often a symbol of our college's researchers. I gathered my friends and we left the city. I do not think I have ever been this happy. I do not think any of us have ever been this happy. Though we have been trudging on muddy roads through the rain, we have not stopped singing, telling jokes, laughing. You could probably hear us for hundreds of long steps around. Tora, our mammologist, keeps pointing out the deer on the trail like she's never seen one before. Ava, our ornithologist, has been mimicking bird sounds to see if she can draw out anything of interest. Holden, the archaeologist, seems more apprehensive about seeing something in his field of study. Rarely does one wish to see a monster, after all. Personally, the moment we find a lake or river, I am going to set up camp and watch the fish. Ichthyology called me at a young age. Growing up on the Maracera coast meant I was surrounded by fish, those the fishermen hauled in behind them, the titans of the deep that the sailors whispered about in the tabernas, and those I could see when I would go swim in the swell. Tonight I will sleep and dream of what we will find. Ninth of Marquette, 233, second era of the Age of Songs, somewhere in the Waywind Mountains. We have found where we intend to set our research base. A large clearing by the biggest lake I have ever seen. We are surrounded by mountain peaks and evergreen giants of impossible age. The tall coniferous trees painted in a vibrant, verdant tone or a cerulean shimmer. We set out our tents, set about getting our camp a bit more homey. The rain clouds cleared and the sun danced through those giant tree branches. We didn't even finish what we were doing, as we all scattered to look for something, anything to study and sketch. Ava found several theljae nests, which is unfortunate for us, as the pesky bastards will likely take great pleasure in harassing us over the coming weeks. She managed to sketch one. She was a rather standard specimen of mountain theljae, messy brown and white feathers that are almost dappled to hide her within the trees and snow. Her large curved beak for eating rodents and fish has a slight bit of damage. Ava assumes it came from trying to take a piece of armor off a passing knight or something. What is notable about the theljaes in our clearing, however, is that their typical yellow crown of feathers seems to be turning a shade of green in the younger birds. Tora found many tracks for many kinds of mammal. However, one track did interest her. She said she would explain later once she had done some more reading on the region. Holden still seems apprehensive about hunting for monsters to study, especially this close to the Volsgarten region of the Waywinds. However, I think he's coming around to the idea. As soon as the sun rose, I took off my travel clothes, drank the mutagen given to me by the professors. The mutagen worked quickly. I could feel my lungs getting stronger, more efficient. So I took a deep breath and I dove into the lake. The lake itself must be 3 or 4 long steps wide in all directions. Under the water, I opened my eyes, feeling them slowly adapt to the underwater conditions. Whatever magic was in said mutagen must have changed something with my eyesight as well, because under the water I saw carp, pike perch, and catfish, all wandering the massive body of water. However, I saw something odd down there. No book that I had read mentioned a fish this size, yet in the distance I swear I saw the silhouette of a large fish consuming a smaller creature in a single bite. I tried to swim after it, but the fish was far quicker than me. I intend to dive back in tomorrow to look for the strange fish again. I wonder what I shall call it, assuming that it is a new discovery. Tonight, we all sat around the fire, taking notes on what we found. Holden cooked us a meal of spiced lamb, chickpeas, and carrots using some seasonings from his homeland that I will admit were almost the same as what we use back on Maricera. I suppose it would make sense if our spices came from a nation on the mainland, but it had never occurred to me. Ava drew the most beautiful sketches of the thelge she saw. Its crown of greenish feathers and its sharp beak captured to near perfection. Thelges are a bird I don't particularly care for. They attack sailors for fish, they are known to rip apart scarecrows, and once my sister claimed a thelge stole her engagement ring, but I always figured one of her mistresses did that. My mind lingers on the fish. Tomorrow, I will search again. Tenth of Marquette, 233, Second Era of the Age of Songs, Waywind Mountain Camp. I didn't even hesitate today. I took my mutagen and dove into the lake again. The feeling of the water flowing around my skin as I swam under the stormy blue water. The fish swimming in circles made my heart sing. I saw trout and xanders exploring the algae and rocks at the bottom of the beautiful lake. I could see smaller fish, minnows, and bitterlings hunting for whatever they could eat. A bullhead swam right up to me before seemingly realizing I was not whoever it was looking for, and quickly swimming away. I kept looking, but I couldn't find it. Maybe it swam downriver, or simply was always in a different part of the huge body of water from me. I felt the mutagen wearing off, my eyes began to burn, and my lungs felt like they were trying to constrict, so I swam back to shore. I may have to attempt to catch it, although that would be less than ideal. I'd prefer to see it interact with its environment. For the rest of the day, I've aided the others. Tora seemingly narrowed down what her quarry was. A rare land animal roughly the size of a pony. A fat pony. She called it a snuven beast. They're seemingly quite rare. These 6-legged creatures are known to hide up trees and tend to not move around much during the day. They have incredible night vision, long tails, and something similar to a person's hand with 5 fingers. They are apparently fungivores, meaning they only eat mushrooms. She has requested we all stay up late on a clear night to see if we can find one. Ava just watched the thelges hunt fish and rodents around our camp. One seemingly took an interest in us and has been pestering Ava all day for her pencil, which she immediately gave the creature. I asked why she would do that, but a few moments later the bird came back with a rodent skull that it set gently upon her notebook. Ava insists that thelges can be easily tamed and taught to be helpful by just giving them whatever they want. I will believe it when I see it. Holden was gone most of the day, and when he came back he seemed quite giddy. I asked if he had found some blind dragon or another monster he could study in a safe environment, and he seemed keen to prove me right. He had found a circle of trolls, a small family, almost entirely passive. Supposedly that's quite rare for trolls, but he walked right up to them and they mostly just ignored the red-haired man. They were larger than I thought they would be, maybe 27 hands tall, with a large armored section on their body not too dissimilar to a turtle's shell. They have these snubbed short noses on their gray skin that reminds me of a turtle even more. It seemed they were a family. A large male with darker coloring, a female who is quite a bit smaller, 2 very small young ones, maybe the size of a mountain dwarf, and 1 large egg that seemingly hasn't hatched yet. Holden wonders if they used to be in service of a town or magician. Apparently some trolls can be settled if you just give them things to do and take the proper precautions while teaching them their new job. Perhaps this family once watched a bridge and collected tolls. Tonight it was my turn to cook. I didn't have much to work with, so I defaulted to making herb omelets. Although back home we prefer to call it salwiat. I used some sage, the last of our eggs, lard, oil, some scallions. I ended up putting some random plants that Ava assured me were edible in with the rest of it as well. It smelled fantastic, but I think I messed something up because they were weirdly bitter. Ava will go into town tomorrow to find us some more food. Hopefully she takes that bird with her. He ate most of her omelet. '11th of Marquette, 233, Second Era of the Age of Songs, Waywind Mountain Camp. This morning I found it. I did as I have, taking my mutagen and a deep breath. I will never get used to the taste of the magical concoction, but it allows me to hold my breath for longer and see in the murky water. I swam a bit before spotting it, idly swimming away to my left. I swam up closer, and it seemed to startle a bit, turning in the water to face the wrong direction. However, it didn't run. It's a large fish with 4 fins around its upper body and 1 long fin along its lower back. It's got a large jaw, wider than the rest of its head. It doesn't have any eyes, which I found puzzling. However, as I swam around behind it for the better part of 15 minutes, I watched it hunt. It's using the vibrations in the water, caused by smaller fish, to figure out what it's looking at. Once it's located another fish, its mouth slowly opens, and the fish would just float around for a moment. Its tongue looks leaf-like, and seemingly that's enough to trick smaller fish into checking if it's algae. Then the jaws snap shut and it swims away. This new fish, it's beautiful. It has these beautiful bronze color with stripes of brown and black. It reminds me of the sailing ships made in my home country. I shall call it a Belgrave hull fish. I wonder if there are more of these in other parts of the world. Watching it hunt was breathtaking, like a spider or a bear trap. It relies on the actions of the world around it to decide if it gets to eat. However, I quickly lost it, as those 4 fins seemingly can get that fish moving very fast. For a 4.5 hand fish, it escaped me very easily. When I emerged from the water, I took to sketching, ruining several sheets of paper with my wet hands, but I didn't care. This creature needs to be documented. I wonder why no one from the Waywind Mountains has recorded this fish before, but I think I might have solved that particular question. If the creature hunts by vibrations and moves that quickly, it's likely it can easily avoid a net, and since its jaws only snap shut when it feels something enter its mouth, it's obviously not going to find a hook all that often. Holden watched the trolls all day, watching them set up a makeshift camp to mimic ours. Leaves for tents and a rock circle for a fire that they will never light. Ava went into town with her Thelje friend to bring home more food for us to cook. Tora seems convinced she can find her strange Snoiven beast, but is also just enjoying watching the deer and the other animals wander around the forest. I think we will stay here for a very long time. Holden said he wants to start drawing plans to build us a cabin so that we can stay in this valley a bit more permanently. And I think I like that idea. Though my home in Maricera calls to me, the beach and the humid rain, this clearing, this lake, these people, they feel like home already. Who knows what else lurks in the water, in the woods, under rocks and in the trees. I would like to know these things, to be absorbed by this place and learn all I can. Lorelei Vistas is a companion story to Legends of Lorelei, produced by Livewire Stories. This show is written and produced by Gwen Fullman. The music you heard in this episode was composed by Gwen Fullman and produced by Calamity Alex on YouTube and Spotify. The narrator for this episode was played by Gwen Fullman. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, please consider subscribing to our Patreon at Livewire Multimedia Stories to receive episodes a week early for only $2 a month. Check out our website at livewiretabletop.wixsite.com/livewire. Subscribe to us on YouTube, or join our Discord in the description below. The best way you can support us is by showing this to a friend. Thank you.